All right, joining me now here on the Matthew Filipowicz Show is Medea Benjamin. Medea is an activist and author and the co-founder of both the peace activist organization Code Pink and the human rights group Global Exchange. She is the author of Drone Warfare, Killing by Remote Control. You can find her on Twitter at Medea Benjamin. Medea, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
So Medea, Code Pink has set up a campaign to attempt to stop the confirmation of John Brennan to head the CIA. Give us the rundown. Why do you and Code Pink oppose Brennan's nomination?
Well, because he's a murderer, a supporter of torture, and a liar. To put it succinctly, he was George Bush's chief, during the Bush era, he was chief of staff to the CIA director, and then he was himself deputy director of the CIA at a time when the CIA was running a kidnapping and rendition program. He backpedaled after he was outside of the Bush administration, but never said anything while he was there. He wasn't good enough to be CIA chief when he was first nominated by Obama because there was an outcry for him supporting torture and rendition. And since then, he's been the assassination czar, heading the drone program that has killed so many innocent people and caused millions of people around the world to hate us.
That's a pretty simple and succinct reason there, Medea.
I didn't say why he was a liar, though.
Okay, please do.
Yes, because in 2011, he said that the U.S. drone program had not killed any innocent people in the previous year, and that's when it was really the height of the drone program in Pakistan, where there was one drone strike every 4 days, killing hundreds of innocent people. And then he corrected himself afterwards and said, well, it was in the single digits, which is also a lie. And so he has been a proponent of a covert program that is hidden from the American people, and when he talks about it, he lies.
Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is a bad man. There is no other really way of looking at it. Actually, I remember how I had recently, a couple months ago, I had Robert Naiman on the show, who was actually part of a coalition that went to Pakistan with you. You were part of that coalition to actually go and actually talk to people of Pakistan and find what their lives were like living under drones. Can you tell us a little about your experience there?
Yes, we met with people who had been victims of our drone attacks or their loved ones had been killed. We met with a young man whose father had been killed in an attack that happened on March 17th in 2011 when the respected members of his community had come together to mediate a dispute in a traditional gathering called a jirga, which must have looked like a gathering of Taliban fighters, and they sent in the drones and killed 42 people. We met with a man who's a journalist who worked with Al Jazeera, and while he was in Islamabad and his hometown, the drones killed his son and his brother, the brother being the only school teacher in the village, and leaving a wife and a young son of 2 years old. And then we met with people who had lost their eyes, lost limbs. We met with people who talked to us about how their entire communities were terrorized by the drones that were buzzing overhead constantly, and how it really disrupted daily life in addition to the strikes themselves. So that's one of the reasons why we found that there was such a visceral hatred for the drones, and as a result for the United States. In fact, the polls showed that 3 out of 4 Pakistanis considered the United States their enemy.
Wow. It's completely understandable when you're facing these, death from the sky, this indiscriminate death from the sky that just comes out of nowhere. And not only are they striking, once, they're also striking, they're blowing up people who are coming there, like doctors and emergency people that come to help. They do the double tap strikes that actually kill, rescue workers, which that in itself, I think it's a war crime to do the drones to begin with, but that is, the other one is clearly a war crime.
Well, that's right. And they also have been killing people at funerals, which is against international law. They have been allowing for the killing of civilians as collateral damage without even telling the American people about it, and then justifying that there has to be a certain amount of collateral damage when you're going after terrorists, but only 2% of the people that have been killed have actually been named as people that are on the high target list. If anything, most of the people killed are low-level Taliban, and most of them are trying to get the U.S. out of Afghanistan, where it's an occupying force.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking to Medea Benjamin, of course, the co-founder of Code Pink and Global Exchange. You can find her on Twitter at Medea Benjamin. But, in fairness, Medea, President Obama has said that John Brennan understands that we're a nation of laws. So doesn't that make you feel a little better that at least he understands that?
No, it makes me feel really worried that that's a criteria that Barack Obama says that he's used. Because this is such a gross violation of international law. And I don't know if your listeners realize that the drones have also killed American citizens overseas, and that if there is a notion that Barack Obama, as a constitutional lawyer, has that somehow the killing of American overseas without any kind of judicial process is part of the rule of law, that's a very scary thing.
It is. What does it say to you that, you talked about how in 2008, Obama tried to get Brennan appointed, but there was enough of an outcry from the left at the time that actually Obama had to withdraw his nomination. What does it say about the left today that Obama feels perfectly happy to nominate him yet again, and it looks like he'll most likely pass?
Well, it just says that the left that was very organized under the Bush administration, and so in the beginning, in the early days of the Obama administration, still had a certain level of organization, completely dissipated during the Obama years. And as an organizer, I can tell you it's been really hard in these past 4 years to get numbers out for anything where we used to get thousands of people pretty easily, and in 7 different occasions we got hundreds of thousands of people. So it shows that the same people who were yelling and screaming about torture and extraordinary rendition and all kinds of abuses under the Bush administration have been either quiet or very reluctant to criticize a Democratic administration, particularly one of Barack Obama.